All right, very good evening and welcome aboard to the podium. Show you every single Monday from 10 p.m. to midnight as we preview and review the world of motorsports on the local scene, African scene, as well as on the international scene on this 22nd of July 2024. Hoping that everything has shifted from your way. From the last time we did run this show, as usual, tugamba kuze mfuna birungi twebaze katonda tumusaba tusakone birungi byala. Kuba byetebigwa ide n'abachafunye mu obuzibuzi beta suit musaba tutemere kumpeno batufune ku solution somoko obuzibu so tubelenga tulivinga obulamu obuli better. At the podium every single Monday from 10 p.m. to midnight we do preview and review in the world of motorsport locally, African scene as well as on the international scene, and of course you can as well watch this program. When I was in the Okubango, Fofa TV, of course, ku DSTV, ku Star Times, Neko free to air, as well as Ngokosa Fofa Media app. For just downloading using the Apple Store or the Play Store, you'll definitely be able to watch Fofa TV as well as listening to 100.15 FM. This program as well as other subsequent programs is available. So abanonya program and the programs endala muso YouTube so ku YouTube babula muso kosa the Fofa Media app definitely muja kwa muso kubanga mulaba program eno oba muliriza 102.1 Fofa FM wherever you are across the entire world mugwana ngali Cambodia.
Okay, nebyo no kulimba.
Cambodia country code ina wito era call meaning country code somecheni tell muto nenga tayari ku Google nayenga jina sijagenda ku Google kilomita Ian Mukasa ali Cambodia, so I was asking myself mukuru watu komotie alaba wave ya mutwala. So he watches all this program using the media app. Mwagezi nyo waru nakataza.
Okay.
Waru nakataza.
Hello. Guys, that's the yarireya.
Yarireya nyo.
Envuga kataza ja avugamu. Buvuzi bulungi. Abulako omuzungu otagita polish.
I don't know, guy yangambo oyo mbusinga aluna asobola okweteekamu ticket najja ne tuwaya mukko Cambodia ne mugamba gwe budget aluna gyateekeyo singa
I think now Ali Mikono Milungi ja Abad Mulingwa is a very good and informant co-driver. Nafuna ko mukisa mbarararali kubanga happened to be at the TC1 bayingiranga TC bwe muti because I was manning that control Katebe twayogera mukona yawo katono tigeza mutoka edduka solo jiddusa ni toza ayigo kukakana muko sometimes kimukolera bulungi nnyo ya rally yonge wedde yakuteka performance wadi afuna mu buzibu naye yateka performance nnungi nnyo mu rally yembalala yanga mzee kine kichwangambye ndoza kijja kunkolera ndoza nitaga muntu ankwatako nanzika kanyanga ali mu mutoko omwo nakweze mundoza nange getting overboard ne keyafunye mulindwa chemanyi ndoza asolo kimukolera bulungi nnyo nabanga solo kukakana.
Okay, so the media app you definitely be able to watch the Fofa TV neck 100.15 and all it is of course squad the Fofa TV Cup round of 32 first leg so the second leg is upon us and a lot of things that happen in the world of sport so using the Fofa media app. We have a lot regarding this program over the weekend full mawagiziba motorsport mawade action packed mwadem so kulaba ku the WRC Latvia, Madam Sokula, Formula 1 in Hungary, and a lot of other motorsporting happenings. Of course, even this week, the ARC is upon us from the 26th to 28th of this very month. Nalabico entry list, only 3 entries on the ARC. Though by nationals,
how many?
From the East African region, Nalabi 2 people, 2 crews. Amza and one Karan Patel. Both Kenyan crews. Everyone just Mangata Chidim. Yachivuddem. We are yet to get the official reasoning behind why he just pulled out, because abali bambali yanyontoko wagende Zambia kwa ibali bisinga byali nti just wagende Zambia. Kinzo mbe isibo kuve Zambia n'asitula emmotoka eyo n'agiza Uganda n'avuga fotopoto n'amma n'agiza Tanzania. So finally agenda kuvuga ali wano ile fotopoto olinga agamba nti agiteekayo dda. So abadde babale
bibalo ne bidamu ne bikola muka X.
Ate kati ebyaffe twagala nnyo jasinga waali twagala nnyo nga waali era taba kubeera muziri event naffe twagala tuvuga kati twagala nnyo nga waali. So
omunane evm
bodo so banga tuweza obako wa SMS or WhatsApp ku 07038103 71 surely ujja kubanga tukuddamu to responding to your question according weekend ni abadde weekend of young lads wotunulira championships abawangudde events ezabadde Oscar Piastri at the age of 23 yawangudde Formula 1 event in Hungary, his first time by the way. Dolando yafuna his third career pole position. Carlo Vampera nena wangula Latvia convincingly. Then Oliver Solberg nena wangula WRC2 in Latvia. So bonna abadde abazaliddwa mu 21st century 2000 because Oscar wa 2001 kale wa 2003 kati Solberg 2001 kati eyo age bracket ye be ba dominate nze
mufata competition yo wakoze oti
fantasy nagera nenzirira Lando mu F1 ne muleta nga ndowooza maybe asobola because Nadia Nico Hulkenberg by ne muleta mu top 5 engeri gye baade bamugambe nti tagenda kubanga driving it for us next season. Kanendo was and that news broke before the beginning of the race. It was anti maybe agenda kuvuga alumyaba yai. Unfortunately that wasn't the case. So Lando took the day and rather Oscar Piastri took the day, becoming the 5th Australian kubanga awangula the WRC. Of course the Formula 1 event. Of course a number of people have won the Formula 1 races. Oscar abadde wa 10-15 mu history. Kale kanseba no ageba birenga babuzaako then we pick it up from there. We atandikirako wano then tujja kugerako ne MUJO from Zambia. Entry list aliko ne yangambe yabo by can if by tomorrow he must have made this decision.
By the way, last year ya Jale.
So tujja kugerako ne wano kuve Zambia. Then we of course preview the ARC which is upon us this weekend from the 26th to 28th of July 2024. Joe, long time.
But kituufu mbadde ndudde. Ate what's interesting is Renasembo kubeera one, which is I think of 2 months ago. Naimeza kaboda waweeraawo. Kaboda ne kanyaga nga kantusa ku gate nga babade bakagoberera ne banyaga ne bankwata matayi.
Obamba musotali.
Musotali
bankuba je ne banyaga bulungi so ne mate unfortunately mbadde up and down nesifuna budde kubeera ko bulungi ne nsobola okufuna kakisa olwalero era abatulaba ku Fufa TV abatuliza ku Fufa Radio tuli basanyufu nti mutwala akadde ne mutuwa budde bwamwe tumuze bye twogera about motorsport nga tuwayamu ngalo batero gamba sife tusingana at least bye tulinako tusubira nti byongerako ku ntegera yamwe naffe ne kitugattako one was the other we tubanga twanyiza mu wano mu studio nenga week nayo tebadde mbi over the weekend abadde ne sports festival Ubuntu Sports Festival Conservation ku Nkumba University basically nga tulita abana 14 under 14 nga tuba give them avenues to enjoy sports while having a good time while yakapira while basketball while your rugby. What shocked me, Aaron, is that I still have the talent of playing basketball.
Abatakumanyi nzoba wako kaki. Small clips. Nti Joe Brewer, Maxally, they are the first youngest, the youngest drafted players in the national team. 1995.
Is it 90?
90. Egypt. Yes. Joe Brewer and Maxally.
That was the representation of the country.
Yes.
I was the youngest at 15 years old and also the top scorer for the national team. That time.
So amaguru gamenye kama.
Natuka nempo mango. Actually, many people, including the federation, were very frustrated and disappointed that at 25 years when I came out of university, I just gave up Nachuma. I just gave up basketball. I've been playing basketball since I was 13 years old.
If if FUBA is to come up with Hall of Famers, so could come.
Tetulimu because records tezali
abalabako
bebasobola okwogera for myself exactly kadina kuba Trump
ntegerekako ba journalists abamu abakimanyi ekyo kirungi ne Mark Sally was a journalist, so he knows he has presented before.
Mark Musa, even today say him at Lugogo.
Then I've had Dakaba Chigongo talking about it also. So those are abamu ba journalists bayina ekintu ekyo, bayina information ekwatagana ku kintu ng'ekyo. So maybe FUBA bwebe ekoze Hall of Fame ngawo elitaddewo maybe.
So balabira ddala. Okay, Aaron, wiki and
abantu abamwena ku FUFA TV n'abatuliza ku 102.1 FUFA FM nga bulijjo libasanyujirire tufisa wakadde tujjeko wano tubeere ku toza FUFA media services ne FUFA nga twogera ku muzanyo tusinga okwagala nga fuga mutukaze mpaka tusiimira ddala tusiima bwongera soko okukulisaayo bonna abayise mu wiiki zino ate era nyongera okunakuwalira wamu n'abo abafunye obuzibu mu wiiki eno gye tulimu oba gye tukubira amabega muvuzi munnaffe oba driver munnaffe mwami Charles Sansa avuddwako omukyala yandoza vigile egenda mu maaso bweyogerere kitalo ddala tatanaki avuddwako omukyala tunakuwalira munammwe naawe ne family omwami Musa Mulimira zeitali bulungi, yes, ali ku kitande Mengo. Tusaba Mukama amusuuse asobole omuyisa kaseera kano kayitamu kama tumanyi Mukama yakola ebisinga yatusaba Mukama mama amusuuse. Omwami Lorenzo muzomani wa KRT mutabani we yafunye accident n'amenyeka okugulu yali nabadde bamuoperate nze mulago. Tusaba naye mutabani waffe akusuke bulungi. Naye bitali ebyo tuyina amasanyu agabaddewo weekend nasobodde okuwerekerako mukwano gwaffe Roland Bwawu yakisosodo genda
yamulya ku mpombo
nakigula yakigudde omanyi okukigala kyekiri last twabale tukigula kati tuguddewo oluggi olutuufu Bwawu kuyozaayoza.
That was what kuchala kwanjula.
Tukuyoza Roland nebonna abatwasobola okutambula nabo mukulikeeyo mpulira namwe abafunye essanyu abalala besitasobodde okutegeera naye nga muli motorsport abali motorsport fraternity tubayozayoza. Badde nga sinakujja wano genda noyogera ku liigi ya FUFA TV. Leero mbadde ndaba World Cup review World Cup 1986 Mexico.
Mwali Magic Hand.
Mwali Magic Hand. Hand of gold na paka ku finals German versus Argentina ne ogwagwa 3-2. Gwali mpira muzibu nnyo. Ndabya highlights zonna naye mpira gwo kusigena. Ero gloro nalo ndabya highlights zonna za group chibi naye final nga match yonna nenjiraba. Was a very good game. Abasajja bali bamanyi omupiira gwa ddala. Abasajja bali bakola ddala omupiira gwa ddala. Ni tonalwa kubanga ekisikiriza ennyo kwetu omupiira. Waliwo coach omwe yajja kwa Uganda yali mu Argentina. Pedro Pascoli. Yali ku eyo team kwali.
Part of that team.
Yes.
The 86.
Yes. Yali ku Pedro Pascoli yali ku eyo team era abantu bangi bamu twawo nnyo Uganda ne kyewunyiza nnyo nti yaliko ku eyo team ya Argentina ya World Cup 86. Era yateebako ne goal mu quarter finals mu round of 16.
Of course Maradona is a legend. Nalaba ne Napoli. Napoli sawo chai bachineminga
Diego
Armando Maradona, one of those the greatest.
Yes.
Of all time.
Gotti.
Yeah. I think.
At debate is very
who is the greatest of all time? And Loeb. FYN. Uganda. Who is the greatest of all time in Uganda?
In Uganda, I would say Sam Sali. If you look at the records, events won, events participated in, number of titles, the time he was beating people, both for the statistics, he definitely shows you.
And that's the thing to Taina Burunji. That's what about Aboga ne Uncle Sam. Chimanya inayo ku records zezo zasolo tula once naga nti mu stage mu rally wait to akola times with team chijja tuyamba nnyo nadala nnyo kuba
ate interestingly
aba creating a hall of fame ya motorsport.
Interestingly, Sam is actually a very open-minded person.
Yes.
So as if you actually interview,
yes.
take away him. He's actually willing to come.
Yeah, we'll do, yes.
Those things are sorted. So he's open. He can give you information,
yes,
which I think will help. But sometimes when you get a corner, you have a chance to meet with him once or twice. Nanzi Duke is even things I did not know.
Exactly.
You definitely pick something.
Chiba
chizibunyo kuvao, but you not pick something.
Yes. The new greatest of all time.
Motorsport. Yeah, nange njagenda na Sam Collins zisali 4 straight championships. Mukasera kali akazibu motorsport ebisere ebyo ngwe na competition yaba Karimu Jimmy Dean team eyo nanga bwe yali awo kyali kyangu nnyo so doza yatekawo performance ennungi ate nga jukira yali most of the times yalinga privateer tuizo kita privateer ina ngwenti yalina team tongolo ndio kuja koleta rondo ya joining and Dembe rally team ne yalinga privateer nga ajanga ye
karibu Kenya kankubuze who's the most exciting rally driver of all time in Uganda?
Most exciting
you have most exciting and then you have the most followed rally driver in Uganda, or the most known rally driver in Uganda?
Most known rally driver in Uganda, motorsport history.
Guyana. I know the honesty, most followed. So you cannot do away with Ponsel Lakataka.
Same as in mine debatable. Interesting.
Most followed.
Yes.
Most followed.
Most followed. I think is not somebody I've ever supported really. But I believe he is.
Yes.
Emakato. Because Emakato in the region.
Okay.
For Uganda alone. Emakato was a brand name. Navana Gamanyino Muibi. Kanemo region. Now Wamba. To a point that even up to now, when you're talking about rally in Uganda, West Sanganti, Erinya Kato. Even abatamula abako bamugera kola kazi if is known. Yet the most interesting thing is that the most exciting drivers I balance between Chip Adams and Charles Lubega. Charles Lubega.
Charles was
Charles, the thing is Charles later
what do the brothers
exciting?
What defines excitement in rally?
Let's go with the Mbela Yorwalero. Nti Duncan wabera mu event you in a hype generator even if he's not very impressive, but just because he's around, more expectation carry to watch again any time of day. So whether he does it or not, you don't. It's not important. Nenga kasaganti neyavuze somehow chichamula abantu. So that's what I think most exciting element. In my view, Charlie was one of those people. Ne Chip Adams. That's why they even had nicknames. How many rally drivers actually have proper names that caught? Yes, person to meet mafu, but chikankane. Sounds more rhythmic. So he's the most. I don't jukiza. Yeah. Deshi aliavuga. Nengendako ekotido. Kati waliwo news ngabogera about rally. Kanembera very excited. Hey, you watch this rally? Yes. So where's this guy who drives the chicken? KFC.
That was his brand.
That was his brand. KFC, DRT. Yeah, man. Where's this guy who drives the chicken? The red car. And sometimes, you know the guy, no, but the car is always there with the chicken on it.
That was his
name. So I found it very interesting.
So where do we place the letter, God rest his soul in peace, Charles Muhanji?
In my view, Charles Muhanji was a underrated great driver who was never really that appealing, except to a few. Why? Kubanga Charles was, in my view, he was very competitive and very intimidating. Amanyo kusoja abantu, but was very friendly. Natenga, he didn't have that much of following and a backing, but as a person, he had his own, very, very good, strong elements. Yes, we talk about the fact that he's the only Ugandan or African champion to have an RSC champion, but
1999.
Is it
99.
But
the first indigenous.
But the record is there. But to a certain great extent, there was a generation a generation young work
it didn't last long.
It didn't last long, exactly. Now MUJO very, very hot. That's why you find that the only reason why Lob is still very popular is because immediately after Lob, there was Oje, who came close to his title. And then now that group of people have phased out. Now you have got Carl in the picture. You have Ot. We don't know where. Tetumanyi wa aliya Kreka. Terry Nuva will never really make it anywhere. Alimuru Makasugondi. So you get confused. Who do I stay with? Once I keep asking myself, do I stay with my man Evans or do I switch to this Martin guy of Ford? Kubanga, when you see those guys move,
Lativia, that was CS3. Where do you play Susan Mwonge?
Wow.
Mwachala, she's the goat.
Definitely. Not only in Uganda, but in Africa.
In Africa, she's the goat.
She's a goat.
Where do you play?
I don't know. Twagala nyi byobulambuzi na biki da promotion of Uganda. Nze bwembanga ndiye nga n'obusobozi. I would definitely support Susan Mwonge for a championship season in Africa.
Yes.
On the ARS.
ARS.
And the RSC, yes.
Where do you place Maikati walo gwendi mukuyiza?
Jonas Matayo.
Where do you place where do you place you ready? You ready? Mtoto wa tabu. Kale kati wala kusimbi.
Office.
Mtoto wa tabu.
Yes.
Kati bali. Iyo kati wasigeza shibani. Bakuje mu. Come out, we pick it up from there.
Yes.
That short commercial break, it's the Podium show like every single Monday from 10 p.m. to midnight as we preview and review believe without the motorsports, local scene, African scene, as well as on the international scene. And you too can be part and parcel of this show by joining us on our various social media platforms, X, Facebook, and of course using the Family app, which you can download from the Play Store or Apple Store. You can as well watch FUFA TV, as well as listening to 102.1 FUFA FM. Prior to that break, you know, at one day, Susan Mwonge she's the GOAT in the ladies category on the African scene. Nina no message from the FUFA communications director, Mr. Ahmed Hussein. Agambe, my opinion, Charlie Rubega, Mark Emakato, that's the order chronologically.
Of what?
Yeah,
in which category is he placed?
Great. Charlie Rubega, Emakato, Susan Mwonge, Ponsano Wakataka, Moses Lumara, Chip Adams, Natega bracket corner specialist. Then Akawansanaga Wycliffe Kenya was also another driver with a huge following.
Yes.
So yeah, he's also in a program, and he's one of those ones. By the way, he's a mentor, he's a teacher. He compounds very many things, and he's one of those ones. By the way, who used to follow who does follow motorsport to the latter. Normal atiranyo umsanga kulu. Na kuwa ne history. Ane nakola. Ngamba mulaya na mwaka papula. Funa wempandi.
No, I
remember myself.
When he was still a journalist, he actually used to research. He's one of the very few journalists bemanyi betasobola kuita armchair journalists. Kubanga tajja kuliriza your word for it. Ajja kugenda ku ground. Omukulu ngabeera ku olusunga bolaba were. He's actually on the ground nakola report, nakola interviews, nafuna facts na switching to another way. Kati wadda kumpeo nabyogerako, he's talking from an informed point of view. Never abanga inamuka glitch, you double check and which was very good. Although I disagree a little bit in his order. Mulimu bayambusiza nnyo like Susan, like another Dawo.
Definitely for Susan's case, the mere fact that the female part of her really elevates her. So I Obanga Omchara are in a championships B, a male-dominated sport.
And the thing is, she actually competes and puts it there.
Okay, away from the greatest of all time. Nakuwadde ensaswa nezikwako off air nogidabo check ndio kanjigaba kumpeo kuba nyinza okwekubajje nga munana eri maaso. From that, the FMU management committee yakolinze for an extraordinary general assembly in line with the previous ruling from court. Matters to be discussed for extraordinary general assembly. A constitution ewa management obuyinza okuyita EGM obudde bwonna yo bwerabanga buli abongazi bagamba 15 days notice. So management yagiyise and never got the place to be communicated in due course. Agenda was tunulira kuliko ensonga ya court ruling. The way forward. In fact, the letter says notice for the FM Extraordinary General Assembly. It was drafted on 19th of July 2024 to all FME clubs and associations, members of the Senate. Reference notice of the FME Extraordinary General Assembly. In accordance with the provisions of the Constitution, Article 7.1.7 of the FME Constitution, the Management Committee on this day, Friday 19th, 2024, has resolved to call an extraordinary general meeting. This notice serves to notify you of the FME Extraordinary General Assembly, which shall take place on Saturday, 3rd August 2024, 10 a.m. Venue will be communicated. Agenda is as follows. 1. Presentation, deliberation, and resolution on matters arising from the court ruling delivered by Honorable Justice Dr. Douglas
Kerosene
Singiza. Number 2. Future of motorsport in Uganda. Number 3. Treasurer's report. The Constitution provides for each club to send 5 delegates to represent it in the Extraordinary General Assembly. You are therefore requested to send a list of delegates to the General Assembly by Wednesday 26th July 2024. Yours faithfully, Kadok Reynolds Chibira, FME General Secretary.
Waliwo akanyumidde Article 7.1.7 Extraordinary General Assembly. The Management Committee may at any time call an Extraordinary General Assembly of the Federation giving notice of 15 days.
Sawa yona we yagalira.
As long as you give notice of 15 days. Naye osoma ate mu ruling omulamuzi ate yagamba nti executive yali in charm okuyita extraordinary general assembly on the 19th of December. Because bagita on the notice ya fulma 19th December. Nga extraordinary ya 3rd of January. So judge yagamba nti kyali kikyamaawo. I didn't know what I'm here to get the because kituyambako this letter egamba nti presentation, deliberation and what else? And resolution. Kati maybe bajasoka batunyonyolesa orders ona omulamuzi yakola the ruling from that.
See deliberating up
so maybe natuyamba ne batunyonyola why because ruling from that article 7.1.7. But anyway, behavior now that is for the deliberation. That is point 1. We have them ruling because one of ruling yabagamba nti judge ya ordering awabere EGM endala in the 30 days.
Kankoboze. Maybe both of you, what exactly is there to deliberate about the court ruling? Kubanga yakuwa decision here, which means basically abide by it. In calling an AGM, you are abiding by the court ruling.
Because there were 30 days.
There were 30 days. how he arrived at it now no longer important.
Because I've not seen the federation filing a notice for to appeal
yes.
the ruling or part of the ruling.
And in my view, it's a good closure to all
the issues that have been happening.
Kubanga mulimu abantu abadde narrative nti tuina illegal.
Maybe that will also be addressed. Because that ruling.
But yokiraba nti mu ruling yona it does not address nti management therefore moving forward is illegal. It doesn't talk about it. He only talks about the fact that in his view, AGM extraordinary assembly Jabaita 19th yali illegal because from his view management yinza si excom. Nyate in our constitution provides for that. So debating how you allow that decision is no longer important. But it's very good that Kangabo Gambi, I hope, baja tunyonyola mu assembly how we got to this point. But the fact that once that assembly is called, it doesn't even talk about office bearers at all. It just says call an extraordinary assembly. But call it the right way.
Because the one of 3rd, which was expunged, because whatever deliberations is on the 3rd of January, that ruling expunged them. In other words, set aside.
Yes.
Deliberations are equal constitutional review because people in that assembly are resorting. Let's have an interim committee put in place. AGM, which was coming on in February, the first Saturday. Then to paving way for constitutional review and everything. So it was paved. But anyway, for avoidance of doubt, since we get to a presentation and the legal department from the legal and disciplinary committee of federation.
My key interest area agenda item number 2, the future of motorsport in Uganda.
And that one is where personally our craves have been.
Exactly.
All along. Because ideally I was talking to one of the management committee members today, Ngamba, Chandibade Shijiramu symposium, a standalone symposium of the future of motorsport. Now, let's have it embedded, cut costs, and let's have this discussion about the future of Ugandan motorsport. Abantu bajje bakole deliberations. Let's have proliferation of ideas.
Is it is it all encompassing? Bugamanti. Okay, the presentation here, 5 delegates from clubs. Obo capturing all what you want. Oba chino chituwa bubimanyi nti we tunakola the future of motorsport. We pave way. Oba we draft a strategic plan on how to achieve that future. Manga bongama nti kugeragera mu AGM. Ngomani AGM za federation. Fakusawa nya paka musamba bagala bazigalewo. Will you have enough time to deliberate on the future of motorsport? I think we nanya chine chisoke echo deliberating about the court ruling na biki tutegera. There may be the gender woza ichigenda kulibwa mu EGM eno to draw out a plan twagala motorsport egende bweti naye etutusayo kigenda kuba kitya mu drafting ebintu tunatwala motorsport.
I think I agree with you nti twandibadde ne what you call the spectrum. Elaga the rainbow of what we want to address. Exactly. What do we want our motorsport to look like? Tiwalwe nsonga katengeza constitution, between the alignment, between sorting administrative, and you have those broad elements. However, okufuna ekintu ekiri concrete, oba olina okubeera ne what I buy, a solid symposium, a targeted, organized symposium, nga omuntu who's running the show, ajanga ina steps zajo batambuliramu mutuke because tosobola kutuka mu AGM and you actually say let's discuss what was supposed to happen. You must have a blueprint of something you want to
maybe
focus
this one
on.
It's opening up the doors.
Maybe
I think so. It will open up the doors so that we can move forward. That is a good thing is ngawe ngambi once 3rd August God sits all the political tension and stuff is cancelled, AGM is held, then they can make recommendations. So issues of, for example, I can ask, but are you people in office legally or legally? Then there's that article which gives the assembly the ultimate powers to make decisions. Because it can make decisions that can have force of law. So the AGM can decide how best to move forward. omukulu ali ku TV ateesa nnyo, and I like him for that.
That one was deliberating on whether to have tabu yajira. One of the things that really me, I was that presentation of mine was still glued up to now on the prior to Ghana elections, but we didn't have avenues for someone who is aggrieved by the outcome of the elections. Wagenda. That was my point of contention. We're going to have elections. Then we must have avenues. Assembly to lage, if I'm aggrieved by the outcome of the election, where do I go? There's no appeals committee. There's nothing. In other words, we are in first May. Alpha and Omega. Constitutional provision you can go to the electoral committee immediately after the election.
That's what it provides for Katkamboze. Usually, when we get these elections, electoral committee and the guidelines of how the elections are going to be conducted. Would the same guidelines provide an interim avenue in the case that you are aggrieved? Right now, so you
can be challenging the very person how they have conducted the election.
So Mogala Singana ye take account in case you are aggrieved by these things, file your protest to
this
and give timeline such that there is a document which people can follow.
When you look at the constitution, they have no way. Of course, with the new Sports Act, the Sports Tribunal and everything, which you have not really embracing as but in our constitution, there are some of the things for your constitutional input. By the way, to us, there must be an electoral appeals committee. But going forward, the future of motorsport. Aaron, what kind of future of motorsport do you believe? But you can hint on them.
The future of motorsport is regional.
Constitutional review. Exactly. So the future of motorsport is first reviewing our constitution.
Our constitution.
Okay, just
yeah, I agree. Tulina kuva mu Kampala, tulina kuva mu traditional rallies running anti the chitumanyinga motorsport is pichi busiko vega ruganze motoka zempaka mu ehoyema egone and stuff like that. Now, I had this discussion with a couple of people. Nembagamba nti WRC yaleze ko munsiuna ne government yakole WRC uwo no gwengensi gogisaba anti mu WRC ndi ready. So these are my elements. Motorsport we muzanyo goko guliwo oguzza resources as benefits to the common man on the ground, and it is a form of tourism. The future to gain a regional, to expanding export to Evemo Kampala, and then to spreading it. We can actually grow and develop this thing. There are very many avenues which we can do. Time has come for us to expand and move on, because we're not maintaining a sequence. I still hold the view that Chile, Kenya, Chile, Tanzania, Chile, Rwanda, because of the economy, it's going to come to Uganda. But we have had enough years to prepare for it.
So literally, for that to come into force, it means reviewing and amending our constitution. Which
and provide, yes, choose some approach here.
Okay. Then the last segment is, so then the issue of the executive being part of management being part of executive?
I've seen, yes, we don't, money. Would probably what corporate management run. For sure, we need to check the management, but at what intervals?
And by who?
By who? What's together? Nti dero Kenya yegwe president wa federation ya motorsport in Uganda. But you're powerless. You can literally do nothing. Kubanga. You cannot make a decision on your own. Whenever you make your decision, you have to run back to the executive committee. Executive committee,
Who put it to a vote?
Mind ya buli omu echuka in a way they perceive things. So
the spirit behind that sharing, the framers of the constitution to put the management into check.
Yes. yes, but when will they work? Kati ncho nangamba oti anti sakola nga buli kintu kyanateeka nga ku mmeeza wagambe tetukyakigendamu ngago executive committee oba in executive,
because even management is part of the executive.
It's part of the executive. Kida management nga yo emu abantu omusanvu betulonda baba powerless, they cannot move. Nja picking a leaf from my federation jetulaba edi progressive ti engineer Magogo bwaba ina kyayagala okukola, he sits down with this executive committee agita budget executive committee, they draw up a plan, ne bagiteka ku meza ne bagenda maaso ne bagikola, they report back to the to the General Assembly every after a year,
because the assembly bawo buyinza okudukanya omupiira.
Exactly. Kati onoze ompadde obuyinza okudukanya motorsport ate era n'obunzijako inewenti ompadde committee ya executive eva esapinga whatever
ne manager ne reporting mu assembly. Manager ne reporting mu assembly because the assembly is shared by management.
Yes, ate management ye tukuba ebibuuza at the end of the day mu General Assembly, tewakola kino, tewatukiriza kino, tewakola kino, tewakola kino, tewakola kino,
by the same members of the executive committee.
By the same members.
Kuno jichenja ulishibira nti baba batano buli club wala
mu FUFA oba ne mu gundi mu simasokile mu rugby, who chairs the assembly, General Assembly?
The president.
The president, I think.
But buli docket ijana presenting zayo.
Yes.
Kati bolaba nti your management jemulonda, people are campaigning nti I am going to come and do for you wonders. Kati have a plan.
Yes.
So we tukuwa obululu based on your plan and belief. But what our structure provides is that bomalo jifuna nze jo kati Bukenya nzenga president, ninanga nzenga vice president, I have my own plan njagala okutuusa. Kati at the end of the day wetuba tutambula process erimiga najja bwomu na wajja bwomu, your docket is this, your docket is that way. So wesanga nti if Bukenya lacks people management and that ka skill okuleta abantu bonna to drive in one direction ngaje twaina mu previous administration, then you don't make what headway. Kumbe ate if Bukenya came na bakunganya mwena ngabe this is what we are going to do, either way kwanza naiga chino whenever there's a disagreement it is allowed, but at the end of the day you have to agree to what the leader is saying, and once the decision is taken, that's how it goes. What was the management's decision? Even if 4 of you disagreed and 5 took that decision and it became a vote and it was 5-4, all 9 of you have to speak the same language.
The decision binds all of you.
It binds all of you. So you end up having a divided approach, which is wrong. So in terms of sorting out administration, secondly, there is no problem with having a layer of management in a single board. To what extent does it have power? Because go to convincing and you are the Messiah. So at the end of the day, this is what we expect of you. How you're going to achieve that or be better than that. Or if you fall short, at the end of the day,
so I think so we have a chance. Let's make the most out of it on the 3rd of August. Let's see what comes out, because through such deliberations, proliferation of ideas, it's when the sport progresses from one level to another. Otherwise, the more we are into this, because we've been in court, the FMA accounts have been deferred. You have event someone is even telling me this current management, even you've squandered the time you've been in competitions, all the foreign races you've driven. So it's a whole. So we need.
Light generally at the time when National Council Sports yaflumiza list yabo abantu abali
considered for this financial year.
Ngova kudechit abali compliant.
NCS, of course, which is NCS is government by the way.
If FMU is not illegal, if FMU says you are compliant,
yes,
it's not illegal. Why do you say you are illegal when abakulira bagamba you okay?
Maybe we need to again to find. Anyway.
Kazibu.
Nenga te
omukulu akutwala ekaga papa wasomya. Wasoma. Olikiriya.
Na tono akuli okupe gaba wagudde. Tuli kuchi.
It's better let's get into that room. Let people speak out their minds on how better, because I think everyone who speaks wants to better the sport.
Yeah.
Give people a chance, come up with a document. Now, I keep referring to this as we go in for break. I keep saying when Uganda Cranes had failed to qualify for AFCON on numerous attempts, Federation called for a symposium, a symposium, Hotel Africana, bringing all stakeholders about Mupira. Why do you think we're not qualifying? Everyone gave his or her thoughts. The Federation came up with a document, and within no time, Uganda qualified for AFCON. Gabon 2017, Egypt 2019, back to back more so. Ate ya Gabon yalina nzibu nnyo because bali batwala only 16 teams. But of course with 2024 the version expanded to 24 teams. So out of deliberations and bring different ideas on table, that is when we reached the team did manage. And even since that time, by the way, with the Uganda appearances on continental level on 13 attempts. 13 times in teams is representing Uganda, Mupira, under 20, AFCON back to back, beach soccer back to back, women football after 22-year disappearance. So very many out of those ideas, by the way, Abanzebao in the Federation, Egatako, and the teams did manage to qualify. So let's get there on the 3rd and deliberate on how best we can better the sport. We go in for a short commercial break to come out to MUJO from Zambia. We talk about the ARS which is upon us from the 26th to the 28th. F1 Yabade Hungary. Crown it up with Karel Vampera's win in Latvia and is making wonders. But let's get back after a short commercial break.
Yep. Yep.
All right, I'll be back from that short commercial break. It's the Podium show we like every single Monday from 10 from 10 p.m. up to up to midnight as we preview and review all the latest in the world of sport on the local scene, African scene, as well as on the international scene. On the line, we have MUJO, a Zambian rally driver, to digest a lot regarding his motorsporting career, as well as the upcoming Africa Rally Championship, which is on card from the 26th to 28th of July 2024. Hello, good evening.
Evening, Kish, how are you?
I'm okay. How are you? You're live on Fufa TV as well as on 102.1 Fufa FM. I'm requesting you to say hello to our dear listeners and viewers.
Come again, sorry?
You're live on 102.1 Fufa FM and Fufa TV, requesting you to say hello to our dear listeners and viewers.
Oh, good evening, and thank you for having me on your show.
Okay. Where are you apparently? Are you in NDOLA? Are you in Lusaka? Where are you apparently?
I'm in Lusaka.
You're in Lusaka. Okay, how is Lusaka?
Lusaka is very well, thank you. Don't complain, it's very well. A bit cold, but very well.
You're having some rain that is of late?
Somewhat, sorry?
Rain.
No, it's not that season yet.
Okay. It's a dry season roughly.
Yes, it's the cold season now, it's winter here.
Okay. Okay, you give us, take us through your motorsporting biography. It could be in a nutshell.
Oh, my background in motorsport?
Yes.
I started rallying in 2011. The first time I took part in a sprint was 2011. With the front wheel drive Inter, I did well in the sprints, and then I moved on to rallying with the Corolla, where I won the front wheel drive championship in my second year trying. Then I went on to Subaru GC8 and then to the N14 R4s that I'm known for now.
Yeah, so you started in 2011.
11. My first was 2011, 13 years ago.
13 years ago. So you won a championship that is in the two-wheel drive.
Yes, I did, yeah.
Okay, then any inspirations that really motivated you to join the sport?
To be honest, I found myself rallying by accident.
How did you rally by?
I went to go and watch a sprint and I was convinced by a friend of mine to take. It was by accident. Convinced to take part. I came out second in the first sprint, and then I realized I got a gift for this and I kept on going. I didn't know very much about rallying before, except for just watching people along the way that inspired me, such as Geoffrey Chulo, in the whole modern team that inspired me into racing. Yes.
Okay, then in your first four-wheel drive car was the GC8, then into the N14, which you have apparently. Why did you choose the Subaru? Why not the Evo?
It was the wrong decision now, to be honest, Kesh. What was what we knew here in Lusaka, in Zambia. There were the common cars. Mona Singh won championships with it, Statu won championships with it. So it was the car that we knew. But as I learned more about the two cars and compared them and saw the Kenyans coming in and Gary Shanes from Ivory Coast, we realized the better car was the Evo. So it was a mistake. If I could go back in time, I would definitely go Evo direction.
So we should. So you're literally breaking the news that in the near future you're seeing you in an Evo and a Mitsubishi.
God willing.
God willing.
In the sport, more even the Evo. So we have to try and think ahead.
Okay, then let's talk about motorsport in Zambia. How is the sport that side? Because we've seen at least trying to compete on numerous occasions. Of course, the Gomez families as well competes. Because I'm seeing Latifi, I'm seeing Seth Gomez as well, Ushla, Leroy Gomez who is apparently your vice president of the Zambia Motorsport Federation. How is the sport doing that side?
The sport is doing well relative to the way the current economy is in our country. It's a bit of an expensive competitive sport and a tough sport which sponsors are shying away from. So our entries have dwindled a bit, but we are still pushing to resuscitate our sport. We know near the numbers that you guys have in Uganda, but I think for now we are doing well. We have a very exciting international event coming, and Zambia International is always looked forward to by foreigners also. So it's doing well relative to everything else that's going around us.
So you guys are you're talking about sponsors shying away. The sport was also affected by the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic, because it's kind of rhyming in everywhere on the African scene.
Yeah, among other things, COVID-19. Also a tough economic environment right now for a lot of businesses. So to take on a marketing budget for running is very difficult for a lot of businesses. And generally speaking, because the entries are lower, we don't have as much media coverage, so it's not as appealing. But it's all things which I think will pass. I think it's things which will improve as things go on in our country. Yes.
Okay, then let's get into the RC itself. This year, looking at the entry list of the event which is upon us this weekend, we've talked about the Zambia International Rally. We only have 3 entries, and 2 from Kenya, 1 from South Africa. Does that scare you, having this in the past, having many entries coming up for that international event?
It doesn't scare me per se, because that's been the general environment for rallying this year in Zambia. We don't have many entries, and unfortunately Leroy, who was taking part in the RC, has also decided to take some time off to heal after an injury outside of rally. So in terms of foreign entries and RC entries, we are low, but we've got a strong local contingent. I think we've got a team of 14 cars, and a lot of our Class A drivers have come back to race. This is Mona Singh, Farouk Tikle, Muhammad Isa. These are all big drivers who, I think if everything goes well, will give a good fight to Karan Patel and Hama, who have come from Kenya, as well as the South African gentleman who has come. We'll do our best with what we've got.
Okay. Then let's talk about your National Rally Championship. The sport has been dominated by of course the Mona family and the Gomez as well. How are you guys planning to kind of getting to break that jinx and also dine with those guys onto the dinner table?
The sport has been dominated, yes, by Leroy Gomes, and also before that by the Sings, and before that by Isa. I think everything has a season. I think we fought, I fought for the championship, I think 2 years ago, very strongly, and I lost out in the last event. So it's not impossible, it just depends on whether it's your season to perform, if you've put everything in order to perform. It's not an impossible feat. I think I'll try again maybe in next year. But it depends on your commitment. Honestly, these families have been a lot more committed than a lot of other drivers. So they've deservedly won the championship more than a lot of other drivers at the same time, yes.
Okay, then in terms of the car you're driving, we've had people making a number of comparisons. The 14, the N12, the N8, the 11, the 16, the GVB. What's so special about the 14 that you don't find amongst other Subaru cars?
The N14.
Yes, the N14.
The N14 Cash is just the newest version of Subaru, to be honest. In many ways, it's not the best car. Look, it's not the best car to take the roughs. I think the N12 and the N10 takes that better. It's not the fastest in terms of acceleration. Most times I think the N12 is much quicker. But the N14 is the best Subaru all around, in that it's the most modern Subaru, and the GVBs are the most modern Subarus. But in terms of preference and all that, I think for our terrains, you're probably at best with a good N12, like the one that Isa used in 2012. That's probably the fastest Subaru you can get, and most reliable at the same time. But the N14s are good cars. They're very good cars. It's just that they are a bit outdated now. These are 14-year-old cars. So these are a bit outdated.
They can't match the
R5.
the R5s, and yeah, should be only. I think that the 14 can't just match the R5. Apart from that, can it match the Evo 10s? Because the Evo 10, the last production was 2008, 9.
I think an N14 can match the Evo 10's very good driver and an N14 and an average driver and an Evo 10. I think if you put...
Okay, Aaron told me that you called the... I have a panel here. I have Aaron Samba, who is a co-driver, Consta Racing, and Joe Brewer, a co-driver with Explode, though he's taken time without co-driver. I think it is... he went into a first sabbatical. But Aaron told me that you call yourself the
Fastest driver south of the Sahara.
fastest driver south of the Sahara. Is that right? Can you substantiate that?
This was a term coined by Rob Stowers. Rob Stowers had come to watch the international rally here, and he asked me, do I think of a driver who is faster than me? I don't think there's any driver faster than me south of the equator. So then he stuck with it.
You ended up being called the fastest driver south of the Sahara.
Then now it became. But look, it's a lot of interview. I think I have to win a few more accolades before I can call it a fact.
Okay, I have a colleague here called Joe Brewer. He has a question for you, Joe. Go ahead.
MUJO, good evening. Thanks for talking to us.
Evening.
Okay, I just have a couple of questions for you. In light with, as you mentioned, the biting economic times and the dwindling entries that you have in your championship, what are the plans the federation and your trainers drivers are adopting to see that you can change this and improve the level of competition and also the numbers of competitors?
I think we took the right step last year in appointing Leroy Gomes as Vice President of Motorsport. He's brought in a fresh opinion, a fresh perspective. The vision also is different. If you notice, even our international rally now is being held as a motorsport event, not just as a rally. There's also exhibitions, etc., to make it more exciting. But also, I think what we need to put into our pipelines is to create a feeder program for entry-level drivers. You know, in Uganda, I've seen you guys have what you call, I think, CRC class or something like that.
Yeah.
And
CRC,
that class. Yes, exactly. So those sort of classes, they give an entry point for drivers who are just filling out the sport. They don't need to participate in the whole event, but it's a feeder program the same way a sprint is a feeder program into the main rallies. We don't really have that in Zambia. We've let go of that. So to race in Zambia, you have to go straight into the big leagues, which is expensive. Not only is it expensive, but also very difficult to do. You know, our rallies are quite far apart also. You know, Osaka to NDOLA is 300, 400 kilometers. So a budget for an event like that may cost an average driver $2,000, and that's not chump change for every driver entering in this sport, you know. So we have to create these channels to feed in new drivers, feed in new entries, and ultimately that's a revival in the sport. But I think with Leroy Elite Motorsport right now in Zambia, we'll definitely see it happening.
Okay, that's great. Well, maybe one more question. If you look at the competition in Zambia, and I believe you follow the Ugandan competition, where do you see similarities and where do you see differences?
Between rally in Zambia and rally in Uganda, for example?
Yeah.
Look, when there's a rally taking part in Uganda, we hear it even here in Zambia, you know? When there's drivers and brands making events to raise money for drivers, we hear it even here in Zambia. When you procure a new car that side, it's heard all the way in Zambia. I don't know if you guys get the same feedback in Zambia, but in Zambia everything is a bit quiet.
No, we don't get the same feedback.
Yeah, exactly. So someone like me can keep up with rallying in Uganda and with fan bases. This is how I know these drivers. I know Aaron Samba, the navigator. I know him. So these are things that if you're a rally fan or a vivid fan of the sport, you can easily catch up with, which we lack in Zambia. We're a bit slow to to realize that there's an audience outside that can, you know, get in tune with our sport. And these relationships, they yield results. You know, if you go and race in Uganda, you might know a few people, and if they come to race here, they should know us also. But we need to become more public. Our fans need to become as loud as Ugandan fans, and then only our sport will become, you know, the
Okay.
Understand.
There's one more question.
Last question. You find that in the region, a lot of Ugandan fans, a lot of Ugandan drivers actually do cross borders to go watch events in other countries.
that you guys have grown. You've got plenty of
Beg your pardon? Hello?
Hello, Mujo. Hello?
Yes, that's lovely.
Okay, go ahead. He has a question for you. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yes, you can hear me.
Yes,
we can hear you. We're looking at the dwindling excitement in the ARC vis-a-vis the costs involved. What, in your view, would you propose as alternatives to improve the ARC championship?
That one is a complicated one. I think there's many changes that have come up.
But you can
Any thoughts?
Come up fix there. You know, the ARC event for the championship, the ARC championship, seems to be a copy and paste of what a championship would like, for example. Without logistical difficulty of running an event like that here in Africa. It's one of those events that I think are solution for Africa. And running the events so fast and so far away, and then whoever has the money or the budget to do it that year becomes the championship, becomes the champion. It's not really exciting for a championship. Very much last year's championship when Mangat and Leroy fighting, and then they went to it in Tanzania, but it's not worth it. Just going around and doing 6 events by yourself and then saying, oh no, I'm the fastest, is a bit nonsense, you know?
Yeah.
We hear you. Okay.
Okay.
We can network ebuze.
hello? Hello?
Sorry?
Yes, you go ahead.
Yeah, so I hope I'm clear.
Yes.
So with ARC, if I'm honest, how is it? The way is, you know, it's nothing to be excited about.
Okay, Mujo, thank you very much for sparing time. I've just looked at the entry list for this weekend's event. You're not taking part. Any reasons behind that?
No, I would have liked to take part, but for this ARC, unfortunately, I've got so many work commitments, I can't make it. I couldn't do it even if I tried. Here, the way they do ARC, you have to do Reiki 1 week before, you have to do preparations for scrutineering 1 week before. So, being out of town also, I definitely wouldn't have made it. But only that, but I don't really feel like getting worked by another 5.
So any plans of you coming from Zambia down to Kampala and these guys show you fire? Or you show them fire?
I lived in Uganda for 2 years, so for me it seems like a nice place for me to come back and race. I've been trying to try and race in Uganda, but logistically to bring the car over for one event it is difficult. But I really hope maybe this year I can pull a plan together where I can find a car or hire a car and do an event there.
Cars for hire.
Okay, you lived in Uganda. Where were you living in Uganda
yes,
for those 2 years?
Where was I living?
Yeah, for those 2 years you were in Uganda.
Living in Kampala, in a place called Link it was, and living back and forth. This was 2006, 2008.
We didn't get the places, maybe network. What were those places?
I lived in a place called Muyenga.
Okay, Muyenga. Is that the Zambian accent of Muyenga or the Ugandan accent of Muyenga?
But if you know the place, it's in Kampala, and I had a good childhood there. They used to be more good. I think it was called Garden. I think it was. Where I used to spend a lot of time. But yes, but I haven't been there since. So I haven't been to Uganda since 2008. I'd love to come and race there.
Okay. Mujo, thank you very much for sparing time and joining us. Any parting shots to the Ugandan rally or Ugandan motorsport enthusiasts out here in Kampala?
I don't know because I'm not racing, but let's just go and watch together and enjoy it. I can't guarantee any excitement.
They're coming.
The drivers who are there, they don't do anything.
Okay, Mujo, thank you very much for sparing time and joining us. We'll definitely talk to you in the near future. We're going for a short commercial break. When we get back, tulieko ku scoring format ya ARC ya 2024, how the attribution of points, championship points. Then we'll talk about the F1 Everday Hungary and the RAC Everday TV, which was won by Kare Ruvampe. Let's get back after a short commercial break.
Alright,
I'll be back from that short commercial break. It's the Podium show like every single Monday from 10 p.m. up to 12 midnight as we preview and review the latest in the world of motorsport and local South African scene, as well as on the international scene on this 22nd of July 2024. Aaron Sambajo Brewer, and that segment we had MUJO talking about a lot. It talks everyone by the way to create same one, no? Sachania, Patel, Amza, very many drivers, Gomez, Nabalala. They keep talking about our numbers. As Uganda, we have numbers in funds and highest number of
cars
entries.
The
question is, has the motors as a sport, have we harnessed from those numbers? Food for thought. Scoring format ARC for today's program, the attribution of championship points, because in the ARC weekend, and we thought it wise to look at how do people score points, because we know the format, the 30, and then you have 24. So how does one score those points? Because Karan Patel is the reigning defending ARC champion, and Muja Chogede Conti to him Alavant ARC Temua Man, you are competing, and partly is it right or?
I think in terms of
you don't win the ARC as a result of over the years as a result of being fast
and being competitive.
It's about being consistent.
Actually, it's about having money, because you go back to how Don Smith won the ARC. He wasn't anywhere in the bracket in the bote come and wait until very fast or very competitive. But they will come and participate. All the difference between a participant and a competitor.
They two are different.
Do different. Kati often a participant. Ano chali muzungu mwechiri. Natinga gaya gama kwa oliaja okubera ku entry form kweta bamu. Ye na avuga bebyo batutemaji obatutembata ya nazo kuvuganya.
Yeah, that is screen critical attribution of championship points. For each championship title, points will be awarded for each rally, taking into account the following classifications according to this following scale. First, Satu 24, 21, 19, 17, 15 in that order. Ne 1C, Bosoma Atike, why again article 3.2.4. That is by the Gamateka region. 7th kumina satu ndoza okuva kuwa kumina batano no kuongereyo once point so 14th yafuna ku points bili, but it's then attribution of still should one of the rallies counting towards the championship trophy or cup not be able to run in its the points shall be awarded based on the established classification. Full points if 75% of the scheduled length of the special stage has been on those copy and paste.
Yes, because there are some elements you just have to copy.
Half of the points, if 50% or more, but less than 75%. You take that.
Singarale against the mass. Never jivuga ebitundu atano. nebanga babitusikiriza naye ate nga tebasusizza oba tebatuuse bitunutunu za mu 5 bajja kugabanga obubonero bwebutyo
basically from 50 to 74% of the rally.
Okay.
Bajja kugaba 50% of the results about the total output. Zile zemakoze zili full distribution. Yes.
Then the other part of the rule is
in case you're running 25 to 50% of the rally. The rally etandise ne bavuga ebitundu 25 n'okweyongera waggulu naye nga tebasusiza bitundutundu 5. Yes.
okay. Then the other point is
One-third of points being awarded.
1/3 of the points being awarded if 25% or more, but less than 75.
Less than 50%.
Less than 50%.
Is run.
So basically, bovugako between 25% to 49%. Ku points are set to the maximum you can get is 10.
Yes.
A third.
Then so
No points will be awarded if less than 25% of the event
is run.
Special stages according to this is run. Kino kyatuukako olowooza mu rally twafuna omwami yafa e Rwanda. Co-driver yafa yanekwizera. We had only done one stage.
One stage, yes.
Yes, so there is no way we would have awarded points for that rally. Era rally yaggwa bwetyo. Titweyongerayo rally yakomawo naye twakamala okukola stage emu yokka. Rally neekomeewo.
Okay. That's interesting. Singa kiba kirungi bw'oba ogenda mu competition okumanya amateeka gavuganya competition eyo kubanga kati twalina issue yaffe ejjinja abantu bebagamba ate banzibye biki position yakichallenginga nnyo naye ate nga issue yali ku COC ndowooza kuwa competition enkyamu
ndowooza COC in all honesty COC siyagaba points omulimu gwa COC kulwaninga rally oba ewedde etya oba ewedde etya then the competition of points oba percentages completed zikolebwa sporting commission yegaba points yejja negamba nti omanyite according to your rally mwabadde ne total kilometers 130 ku 130 mwavuzeeko 72 bwentola percentage ku 72 muba mufunyeeko just 25 oba 23 ekigiza rali yamwe tesoose tukoze eki tetambudde mukole eki muveeko
naye ate ekirala Aaron kati gwe kitutte mu CC nti ebalawo Sport Commission which is not the case. Lwaki nze nga steward kubanga kino tukyogera nnyo nti rally esigala ya COC stewards eri okwenforcing amateeka ga rally eyo n'okwenforcing amateeka ga national championship national competition rules kati gwe bw'ovuga rally eyo nogamba nti anze ngabye full points because nga bavuze 50%. Nenze nga steward nga nze nkimanyi bulungi nnyo nti according to the regulations erina kutuuka bwet nze enforcing amateeka awo nze mba nkola guidance nga no according to the regulations rally yabadde yakola na kilomita 12 ovuzeko kilomita 85 percentage ebwet kiba kitegeeza nti points zogaba zikoma in this range. In my report nga steward that's what we'll give regardless of what the COC says yenga yamaliza rally ye nti nkikomeza so bwogiwaayo Sporting Commission following a report negamba yes according to this interpretation of the stewards who have signed off on it kituufu rally yakomye wano and therefore the points z'omuntu alina okufuna ziba zirina okukoma wano
kituufu nnyo ekyo era in all honesty ndowooza abantu abamu bayagala bwagazi kwetawo kavuyo kwekyo ekintu nze nalaba kyali very obvious kyali straightforward ekisooka kya byonna ekyalemesa event eyo okweyongerayo it was understandable it was a safety issue baye tesobola kweyongerayo ku stage ebbiri ezali zibulayo olwakuba waliwo safety issues ekisooka ekirala the itinerary had already been delayed by almost 1.5 hours in the morning before the start of the first stage itinerary ya delay nga waliwo delay marshals babulamu okutuka ku control and by the time they got there we had delayed the first stage in the morning by almost 1.5 hours. In that same stage in terms of running and it was an accident and delaying further ate they arranged ambulances ezali ku scene nga sino kutwala casualties abali kwa accident eyo on further review for hospital ekituuka nga dynama yaliwo nga tulina ambulance emu eri ku
wetaga minimum 2
mo stage. Yes, question was should you run the rally with one ambulance in case anything happens and go bagenda okupininga tukitegeera. So it came to a point to manite decision nejenga we cannot run this rally ekome wano we award the winners as they are tukitegeera nekimanyika ne stewards ne banyimanya ekite kya competition kyajjamu later by the way this rally actually covered 72.3% of the entire rally. It did not make 75.
Yes.
Meaning half points are going to be awarded. Chiganti charge jirawo luli ku time area awarding. At the end of the day, that time COC aliko bada yagamba rally yange wedde I'm giving away my trophy.
N'abalamu in his view
gundi tagabya wonti ngolokuba tukwaje tukenda bagenda kuwa 50% ekikopo tukwe cha kitundu sawa
then we take the what you have because I know gamba the 25%
tofuna yes
25
below 25% be awarded less than 25
scenario eri do Rwanda try to have a stadium when you compute you could not even get 15% with the total distance.
Then if then I know gamba any decimals will be rounded off
to the nearest
up or down
to the nearest number.
Ogeza kufuna femana byetutekamu nawulidde koti munana ina 136.5 so kyekino kyagezako explaining anti instead of 136.5 we can round whenever you get a 5 you round it to 136. Yes.
Okay, in any exceptional circumstances if I may decide to apply any different principle
of the reduced points.
Yeah. Okay.
Kati awali FI chusa kati jise FM
oba kati in that case comes bichi if provided in the championship federations additional points are as per the following scale will be awarded according to the classification of the power stage as in article 50.4.
Yes. Kubanga omwaka guno na ARC are introducing a mandatory power stage. So power stage nayo ne bajja kwa point division yazo so katano okubiri nya okusatu satu like that until the fifth about the fifth person afuna point yemu ezo points zigatibwa kuzoba ofunye ku final classification yo wali nti obadde wa kusatu okusatu afuna points meka 21 gatako gosinze power stage 5 nobango points 26 itoto
wao kati kino chao kwa kuchafu tuano power stage points ya first okafuna 10 wako 29
zafe bagezako kumani taking in mind nti tuina a very big number of finishers tiwaka abatana abasoko yinzo kubanga okubideyo banji so that's why they put it in full 10 at least a 10 resource donali baka cherifunye ku power stage
3.1.4 in order to score points in any driver's championship the person nominated as driver on the entry list must drive the car on the special stage except in a case of force majeure occurring during the competition notified to the stewards and acknowledged by them.
In order to score points in any drivers championship okubanga oyina okubanga wavuze motoka
nga we wandisa nga
driver
nga gwe driver
the person nominated as the driver on the entry list must drive the car on the special stage
nti
aliyo nga driver olina okuba
nga gwovuga
ne Bukenya Jonas Matayo baba ye driver Jonas Matayo alina okuba nga avuga
yalina okuvuga okuscoringa points za driver bwatavuga motoka mu stage eyo tebamurecognize nga yavuze era batafuna points over recognition ti yavuze
kati kibanga ekijjawo kino nti
in case of any problem one of you is a driver
and chiri no tuchijawo as such and unless notified kuba bagamba nti who is driver 1 Jonas driver 2 Kesh tugeze mu super special stage I mean mu any stage jovuga you'll assume Jonas yavuga era bwe kinokobeera kati wawe kikyukira nga Jonas afunye obuzibu ate basitwazi bali notified kubanga katugambe
okumalako
mwafunyemu akantu no risk namenya risk ye
nate mwina okumalako
nenga mwina okumalako abo Kenya osobola givuga oba katugambe traffic emukute ne suspend license ye that's just
isali ku
Solberg
ne Patterson nagivuga for the remainder of the stages
kata muno notifying abagundi stewards this what has happened nefe tugena compete nebenga bakivuze otherwise kiba kichuka nti cheka mukenya yavuze mukenya gwetuwa points za gundi
okay ndizana shirikia do you have that in our rules
it's additional to what tukirina at least ziri zisoka ziri zonna
we are kujako then to our kind ne power stage
we have ziri 10 downwards bali bana 5 zokka
okay then there's an article attribution of points article 3 that is for the then number of results for the final classification. The classification will be established taking into account the criteria required for each championship. The driver and co-driver having totaled the highest number of points will be declared the relevant winner or champion. It's really clear. Single points nyingi regardless of the amassing. Regardless of the criteria required for each championship, all results are taken into account for the final classification when the championship is actually held over 4 events or less.
Twafuna wane cha mwami Fred Busura kitaka ekigira mu kino timu champions events biri try to ino kugaba
wano ku ARC egamba
at least 4
atagamba all less agambe 4 all less ejigeza buli emu required for each championship. All results are taken into account for the final classification when the championship is actually held over 4 events or less.
Why? Oh more.
Kuri kuchiche teka all less.
Regardless of
ila la kozeka edit.
Ila la kozeka edit. Wala mugamba 4 always. Itegeza nevuga 1. Why tegeza nevuga one event. Ni hata toro kujja ko ngamba ntezazo nateza score walinga.
Alenga.
Wachitegera.
When
4 always
when an actual championship is held.
Over 3.2.3 when the exception of the championship specifically scheduled in the single event. Titles will be awarded if at least 50% of the events scheduled in the initial calendar have actually been
run with a minimum of 3.
Again, with the exception of championships specifically scheduled in a single event.
Yes.
Titles will be awarded if at least 50% of the events scheduled on the initial calendar have actually been run with a minimum of 3. 50% of the
scheduled calendar
of the calendar.
So our calendar ARC has 6 this year. 50%.
There's 3 events.
Minimum of 3.
Minimum of 3.
The completed highest number of points, highest span of points has competed on a minimum
of 50% of the events.
Or 50% of the events that are required to qualify for the championship.
Ziri mukaga.
Wegamba
olina okuvuga ko a minimum 3
qualifying for that particular event.
Qualifying for the champion.
Just omwaka oguwedde yali asobola okufuuka ARC 2 champion and then overall ARC winner.
Kuba yavuga
kubanga yavuga emirundi 3 ngavugisa Evo 10.
Yavuga Uganda, navuga Burundi, navuga ne Kenya.
Yavuga Kenya, yavuga Uganda, navuga ne Burundi. Ngavugisa Evo
R5 yastandikira Rwanda.
Then natandika R5 Rwanda, Zambia ne Tanzania.
Ne ate awo kikujiriramuko bali badde wajja points za mirundi 2. kwento chegede kuba Uganda jasha ndi champion mu ARC2 ne mu ARC oba
era bamuwanga ebiri
anti naye
bamuwanga ebiri
ali atabayo yandi bada scoring a points because sali yafuneza ARC2 Kenya Uganda Burundi
nafuneza overall
ngafunaneza overall
then those are 90 points.
Yes.
Then we atandika ne R5 e Rwanda
84 points.
Yes. We atandika ne R5 e Rwanda ne badira points zabada amas mu ARC2 ne baziza ku
nedda era it's RC1 yaina scoring format yayo ne RC2 ina scoring format yayo ku RC2 yada ina 84 points era ziyasigalako until the end naye ku RC1 aina ziyajanga accumulating in the positions he was finishing in consideration of the ARC1 drivers.
Katugana just era scoring am category.
Yes.
Ngawa abatu drive. The scoring ku NRC ne ku two drive.
Era scoring up championship.
Chobola ba bwamiki bwe yagenda Zambia na kila keno ngayabandi ye just tavuga zemba musembera mu ARC 2 points.
Yes.
Zambia okay. 3.2.4 at Kesemba contribution of points in case of disqualification of the competitor for the world competition. This will always count as one of those which will serve to determine the final score of the championship.
In case of disqualification of a competitor for the whole competition.
This rally will always count as one of those which serve to determine the final total score.
The whole competition over event yandibadenga event yeyo yenyine bakudisqualify nze mu rally yachi Rwanda tojivuze you've been disqualified. You tegana that event adding to the total of the ARC championship what they go told him.
Ne disqualification ebera ku
affecting abalambali
anti walogamba nti rally ya katugame tugenda right now tugenda for some reason somebody has come I think and the ARC of Uganda is disqualified but it did not meet the nani and it has been disqualified towards the championship that ARC Uganda so take the two to rally zona tugamba okay here you scored 0-0-0-0 but let's go to the rest and we move on from there.
Okay. Ne as we part MUJO ayogedde ku revive of ARC says it requires zero certain entries I don't know which South Africa tandikiddawo Karan ne Amza bajje Kampala
nze kyendaba ARC awatu fear yali sose nekkiriza Africa nga Africa
ekole design yayo
ate Amza ya scoring am category 2 ARC ne ARC junior
yes
ate special bakubana Evo 9 oba Evo 10
yali badashwa ne
category 3 yes mu category 3
Amza avuga motoka nje
agenda kuba the Ford Fiesta R5
R5
yes
kati awo abasquad bamugonde 2 junior ne gold
yaba kubanga ina the group
squad bamugonde 3 yes.
So the revival, maybe let's talk about reviving of this
championship. I don't know. Kubanga tutunulide ku bintu bingi, maybe we do the regional, we boost the regional championships zikulenyo, maybe Africa would copy lead from that. Naye Africa ndaba nga MUJO bwagambye kyafuuka kya mwana wa mugagga azirina sente yagenda na
because Don Smith yawangula ARC mu 2016 not because he was the fastest driver but because he was the most consistent driver. Ne Kawugi akyogera we just consistent pick points and we
nice ndoza
tumalize.
ARC has always been about money. It has always been about money. Nchosobola kutambula. The only issue is that abavuzi abacompeting abalinga banjiko nga tebali mu competitive luli kati bakendedde kubanga bonna tebakyalina sente ezo so omuntu akyalina weight eyo yasobola okuvuga so you're dissatisfying somebody because other people are no longer able to match his financial base. Nenga bunga tugambye how do we make it more exciting? But breaking a region or kubala mu kineti which region am I leaving out and why? But you tedi bantu The truth is just anti. Right now there are 3 competitors in ARC. One is Ugandan, 2 are Kenyans.
South Africa yaze.
South Africa yaze. Kati yaze because
I think country the South African Zambia it's see not the distance.
It's not too far.
Because the next one is Tanzania. Maybe Tanzania so maybe. Okay, but what about the Tanzania that means you can traverse all of East Africa.
Banange kitu cha ARS kino sibanyi nawe omuntu wayinza ki revamping kikomeo luli edda twina issue twina nyo limitations ku motoka ndo
maybe because
moja Uganda you compete with everyone in Uganda
yes
okitegeera nti chali begajja kujja awangule ARC olusi abalale mekufuna na points kwegamba gwa ARC bo baba kukubye bakukube omufojo malide mbwe bolero bokola ki botwala
Negati with the coming of the R5 era muja ashogede kuwa you like the way nesema yatwaliko nayo gere
kijamu kisakinga out that competition kwangati Muhammad Esa jakujalwane maybe atakako performance ne R5 neither ejamu ku by the end of the day netanyawo points zimo propelling agayo nafunye wabiri kamene nzongereke Tanzania wa neighbor wange Tanzania nazo nyinzo kujaye 10 ochoira kizo propellinga ne kati nze mvuze nja ku example ani yali okusatu mu Uganda okay bona bali ba ARC owo kuna mu Uganda ARC
ati alimo
bali gona sebuguzi omuwamanyi kyogenda okongera yo kuvuga e Kenya obe e Rwanda banga teyabujjawo nakabonero akamu e Uganda tenga yamala wakuna ntegeera tayina kabonero akamu ke yajjawo kiso tayina mani gayi tayina motivate bakongerayo yeso singa nti buli omwavu zaawo
mukula kuku
ofuna obonera ana oba 10 oba 5 bona bofuna oyinzo ga ku butano bwange buno lwaki sikiriza kalwanda kano nenyongera ke 10
maybe as a region we can revive the East African Rally Championship nituba na events za ARC events ngazi scoring alongside the regional championship
ya East Africa
because
nandi ate buzibwe twafuna ate Uganda iringange ya kivamu echa East Africa
chitia
when you go to Rwanda a Ugandan scores points in the Uganda championship Rwanda championship when you go to Tanzania Yasin scored points on Tanzania championship nga avuga flag ya Uganda ogere Kenya a Uganda national flag ASN scoringa ku championship yawa in Uganda tetuchikiriza
we should adopt
we don't accept it. Maybe those are the things we need to change to adopt ekintu ekyo whereby omuntu enajja bwaba muna Kenya bwa kutukuba afune nkanga
kujako maybe sama kwa tali kwa ngayogera
jukira one time
twachirina tebachirina
bachetaga because they need the numbers
yes
ochiraba kadi then we used to have so many Kenyan competitors
yes
kadi nga Uganda bogenda yo you don't score bavuganga guest
maybe no kujja wanti you can replace a rally waka bebanga as long as it's an ARC event
and in East Africa
mukirizo omuntu agenda avuge Tanzania
yinzo kumisinga na misi ngambarara rally
kangendeze Tanzania
ne sabati abu obudde bulutuka ndivuga Rwanda rally
maybe that way nebali ojja kuba balaze nti mwaba
ojukira izikola basu Kenya na kalobozi akatono yavuga East Africa che yakola yavuga palo wano na misinga rally yaliwo eliroko aga navuga e Rwanda nga afuna bonus points kati ndo zawo issue yaje so this you are allowed 2 events no sir no gende Kenya be Tanzania ngovuga events ARC ezina bonus points so ovuga 4 events zokka mu mwaka nengo ofuna bonus points weno kudda wano nga bano abavuze 7 points wona toba kuba chi
maybe ojawo cha bonus just to make it around just convert your points what position did you finish what then give you points
ando buzibu bako wati bagabanga bonus points
because of the effort
ARC abavuza ababera kujukira eba competition ya higher competition all the time tebanga national event
waba ne wano waffe walobera mu group ofuna get bonus points
kati bazi choose it is now flat kuba muliro bakukube
okay that's all we've had for you in today's program nina message wane ya mkuru Kigongo as ila landibu bitu vyo wano Kigongo agamba nti it's a long one but in a nutshell agamba nti Bukenya I'm still not up to grips with the idea of spreading motorsport national. My question, Kesh, on football and motorsport, which is easier to spread? If you don't have football clubs nationwide competitive, how do you expect motorsport to thrive? When you said regionally motorsport, because of economic strains, you expect motorsport to spread. I suggest Kesh, as Kesh said, WRC is for the prepared. Let regions welcome motorsport, otherwise obusente obutono for not spreading it up. Okay. Kale, that's all you've had.
Atuleko konafe.
That's all you've had. We'll get back next week with a list of motorsport.